Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the ESPC Digest. I'm Paul from ESPC, and with me today, such a nostalgia, got my sidekick back from the house price report. We've got...
Hi, it's Ash from ESPC. I know I've missed this. I've missed this, Paul.
That's good to see you. Yeah, it's great to catch up on this, and we're going to do very similar to what we normally do with the Digest. We're going to talk about the house price report first for the period that's covering February to April. So we'll have a little look at that. We'll look at some of the details of that, and then we'll have another chat in the second section, and we'll be talking about some of our methodology and how we come up with the average sale price, and we'll be having a little bit of a chat about that as well. So shall we start at the beginning? Always a good place to start, Ash?
Well, let's go.
But yeah, let's go in and talk about listings. They're up.
They are up, Paul. They're up 19.4%. So yeah, what's going on there?
What is going on there? I mean, actually, I think if anything, listings seem to have accelerated as the years rolled out. We're up 19.4% for that quarter between February and April, and yet in April listings were up 37%. So it's almost like self-fueling now. Sellers are seeing properties that they like, so they're putting their own property on the market. So there's more choice. And then more sellers are seeing something that they like, so they're putting their own property on the market. So there's even more choice, and that's what's sort of expanding. We're seeing a listing, but as we know, it's not all about listing properties. Ultimately, we have to, and our firms have to sell these properties as well. So how's that been going, Ash? How's the sales been going?
Yeah, Paul. So in the last 3 months, we have a look at how many properties are sold through our solicitor ESPC agents, and we're actually down just ever so slightly. It's a slight decrease, and it's sitting at 0.1% for that last quarter. So I'd probably say quite stable in terms of what we're seeing.
I would say so. Yeah, I think there's contributing factors for that. Though interestingly, again, April's proven to be a bumper month. We've already heard listings were up 37%, but sales were also up 10%. So it does seem to be that there's more property selling in the month of April than we'd had in the previous months, which I think is encouraging. And I think we need to remember that the amount of properties that are currently on the market, the stock is up 36% year on year on ESPC. So there's a lot more properties for people ultimately to look at and choose. And I think that's why it takes a little bit longer to sell a property, which we're going to come to now, and also the premium has dropped. But yeah, let's look at speed of sale.
Definitely. So when we have a look at this, Paul, it's basically how long a property has come into the market. And when we say time to sell, that means when it goes under offer. So at the moment, it has slowed slightly. So what we're seeing here is just a slight, slowing of the market. But as you say, we've got more properties coming on, which means that there's just more choice. So at the moment, we're sitting at 33 days to sell for April in 2024. So yeah, slight decrease, but bear in mind the last couple of years were so rapid in terms of selling things, but it is still quick, isn't it? I would still say 33 days is still a relatively
compared to the rest of the UK.
Yes.
Good. I always feel under pressure when we talk about this because that clock keeps on ticking, going round, and I always feel we have to rush this bit. But as you say, we go back to 2022 when the market was at its frenzy. 16 days. I mean, that's barely a holiday. You go away for 2 weeks, come back, your property sold. So yeah, it's cooled slightly, but we think that's a good thing. Megan and I have said before, buy a haste, regret at leisure. I think people have been a bit more considered now in what they're offering and choice. So it's probably no bad thing. It definitely feels like a fairer market that's out there. Shall we move on to the next slide and have a little look at what we're getting in terms of premium that's being paid?
Definitely. So again, we always know this is the one that sellers want to know, and also buyers as well. So if you're looking to purchase or you're looking to sell your home, bearing in mind this is an average across Edinburgh, Lothians, Fife and the borders. So this is just a wide average for all those areas. So you are better speaking to your solicitor estate agent for your home specifically, or if you are looking to put an offer in. But at the moment, we are sitting from February to April, Paul, we're sitting at 101.6%. So we have seen that cooling, haven't we, and compared to previous years. But I think, again, that is encouraging. It's good for buyers, still a good amount for sellers, still over home report.
Yeah, and I think, as you say, contributing factors, again, we're seeing more fixed price properties in the last couple of years. Generally, those don't attract a premium over the home report. Well, again, it just depends where you set the price, but it has probably a dampening effect on that. And as you say, these are averages, so there's some sellers not achieving the home report value, and there's some sellers achieving way over. I mean, I heard just the other day of a 20% premium being paid. So, you know, it can still happen for the right property in the right place.
Definitely.
But overall, average selling price is up year on year, 1.5%. And in the second half of the show, we're going to explain to you our methodology around the average selling price, and why it's important to take this into consideration in the round. That, you know, what did he say? Damn lies and statistics, you know. So I think we will explain a little more as we move into the second section. But as I say, the take-home message there is that we've seen slightly higher average selling price than we were this time last year. All right, so there we have it. That's the snapshot for the April house price report. If we were to summary, what are we seeing? We're seeing more properties coming to market. Those properties are still selling. The speed of sale has gone out slightly compared to previous years. And really the premium being paid has certainly it's dropped a little bit. Again, no bad news if you're a first-time buyer looking to get on the ladder. And equally, if you're a seller looking to move up the ladder, this is good news. It means that you're probably not paying as much as you had previously anticipated for your next time. There's definitely more choice out there. So lots more properties on ESPC.com. And we didn't see an interest rate rise either. My prediction, I've been saying May for some time, didn't happen. The vote, I'd like to say it was close, but it was 7 in favour of hold, 2 voting for a reduction. But we go again on the 20th of June, and we'll see if maybe I was just 1 month out. We'll see if we see the first rate cut in a while, and certainly the first one of this year. Probably would send a positive signal to the market, but overall, market's in pretty good health. So this is the second section of the digest now. It gives an opportunity to talk in more detail about some of the things we've been discussing so far, and we've already touched on the average selling price. So yeah, over to you, Ash, for this bit.
Thanks, Paul. So yeah, we do mention average selling price quite a lot in all of our home reports, or when we're talking about stats here at ESPC. You probably hear that a lot from your local solicitor, estate agent as well. So it might seem quite straightforward when we say the average selling price, but it really just means that that's the price that properties have sold for a specific time period. So right now we're looking across the last quarter, and we'll look at those 3 months and compare that year on year to see if there's any increase or any decreases. The average selling prices do tend to be quite accurate of the market as a whole. We're looking at a really large pool of data there, Paul, aren't we, of everything that's been sold through our ESPC solicitor estate agents.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different areas that will come in at a lot of different prices. So we can go from anything that's really high range price to a lot lower range prices. But they don't make enough of an impact to skew the average. But when we talk about skewing an average, do you want to, explain that?
I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere else, but I'm going to move on. Yeah, when we talk about how the data can be distorted slightly, let me give you an example. So in 2023, what we saw was a number of rental properties coming to the market. So landlords have decided to sell up. These generally tended to be lower priced properties. So as a consequence, those properties came to the market and ultimately sold, but it meant that we sold a lot more of the lower priced properties than we had in the previous year. And what that actually meant is that it pushed down the average sales value. It pushed down the average price. Now, I don't believe what it meant is that we were seeing prices fall through the floor. It was probably more of a reflection of the change in the market, in as much that we were selling more of those lower priced properties because there'd been a glut of properties coming to the market. ESPC, in our lettings to business alone, we had 15% reduction in landlords. And again, these were properties that went to the property market. So it's things like that can make a difference and can skew the market if there's a change. Mm-hmm. In addition to that, there is a second factor that we should also consider, and I think it's about sometimes when we take a closer look at a particular area. So when we zoom in on a particular area, here's an example. Let's say we only sold 1 house in Stockbridge. We wouldn't be doing very well if we only sold 1 house in Stockbridge for a year. But if that sold for £1 million, it doesn't make the average house value of a property in Stockbridge £1 million, or the average flat value for a property £1 million. It just means that our sample is so small, that's the only one that was sold, so therefore that's the average price for that period of time. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky, and I think the next slide indicates that rather well when we take an area of Mid Lothian, and we have 3 areas there that we are focusing on. Just to give you a size of the data sample there, you know, if we were talking about Dalkeith, we're basing the average sales price on 32 sales for that quarter. Not bad. Pennycook 36, Bonnyrigg 34. Probably where you get a more accurate feel for what's happening in Midlothian is that you would zoom out. So you would take Midlothian as a whole, and then we've got a wider data sample that we're looking at. It's very difficult for us to accurately predict from statistics exactly what the average selling price is in an area. That's why the key people to go and talk to at that point really is your solicitor estate agent. They're on the ground. They're talking to clients every day. They're selling for clients. And probably almost as interestingly, if not more relevant, is the buying for clients. So they know what offers are being accepted, what offers are putting forward, what's being accepted. So they really are absolutely essential, this, in my view. If this has given you a taster and has got you interested in all things property, we've got lots of other things going on, haven't we, Ash?
We do, Paul. We've got so much things that we can talk to you about. If you want to find out a little bit more about what we have been talking about today in terms of the data and the metrics that we've just discussed, then please just go into espc.com and you can find our latest house price report, which will be on there, and that'll give you a breakdown of all the data and some more information on certain areas as well. We also have a podcast. Paul, you are a regular star. You host alongside Meg. So if you do want any more information about the podcast, hear a little bit about that, you can get that from anywhere you can download your podcast. So have a listen. And we're also hosting an East Lothian event at the end of this month, which will be on the 30th of May, and that's going to be down in North Berwick, where there'll be a chance to meet all your local solicitor estate agents and get any advice that you want on buying and selling. So please come along, and there is Prosecco, so it's always a win-win.
It's amazing what constitutes being a star these days, Ash. But thank you for the reference. Yeah, and also, as I say, you can interact with us. You can contact us through the marketing inbox. Keep an eye out for our TikTok channels or YouTube channels. We're on LinkedIn, we're on Instagram. You'll just find us all over social media. And if you like dating, I've particularly had to say today, follow me on LinkedIn. I generally put nuggets up on a daily basis, a little bit of market sentiment or some commentary or some predictions which generally turn out to be wrong, but you never know. Right, I think that's all. I think that's us, isn't it, Ash?
Yeah, that was really good. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
We certainly will. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.